All right, so welcome back to another video of the Target Individual Program, Target Individual Experience. So they have the New York Predator Department using the sirens. So apparently they think I made a threat. First of all, I didn't make a threat. Okay, I did not make a threat. But because they're operating in this illegal capacity, this criminal capacity, they will try to use every thing that you say, right, as some sort of threat in order again to keep you under surveillance, to keep you, in this program. Because that's what this program is about, right? It's about hiding the fact that they have illegally microchipped you, they have illegally conducted non-consensual human experimentation on you as an individual, the violation of your human rights, your civil rights, your constitutional rights, what have you. This is what they do, and this is how they get away with it, right? And like I said, being a black person, being a black man, particularly looking at how the black community operates and seeing that they are directly responsible for what is happening within the black community, the destruction of the relationship between black men and women, the destruction of the black family, using religion as a tool to control and to separate, right, family members from each other, because those of us who don't believe in the bullshit Christian belief system, because it is a bullshit religion. Actually, I call the Bible, the Buybull, the Bible, because you're buying bullshit. That's what you're doing. That's what you believe in. And again, because we have a lack of understanding of this book, whether it be the Torah, whether it be yes, I say the Torah, and whether it be the Bible, which include the Torah, because remember the Torah is the five books of Moses, otherwise known as the Pentateuch. Right? How many of these Christian, religious fanatic even understand that? Right? So I was posted on Facebook, um, in terms of, again, when you don't know history, when you don't understand history, this is why it's important that we have black scholars to who do the research to tell us the truth, who write books like Dr. Joseph Ben Jacobin. I just ordered this book from Amazon. It's called Cultural Genocide. Okay, because I want again, this is, they try to keep you away from, particularly as a black person, particularly as black men and black boys, they will manipulate us in order to control us. We know this. Okay, we know this. For some of us, because we didn't know, we get put into this sort of situation and this predicament because there are forces, right? White races, even the ones that look like me, that have a white mindset when it comes to the religious belief system and the indoctrination of religion in our minds, and then you'll hear them talk about, oh, well, black people. Yeah, black people are in the Bible, but the Bible is not for black people, right? The Bible is for religious fanatics, okay? The Bible was created not by black people, okay, by the Hyksos. Well, the Pentateuch, the so-called Moses, right? If you look at the, they tell me that even, even after Moses died in the Bible, right? And they said that Moses wrote the five books. All right, so even as Moses was dying, you tell me that he wrote it, that he wrote his, his up until his death. I mean, come on, you gotta think. You know what I'm saying? You gotta think. Um, there's a writer that's telling the story. That writer is not Moses, okay? And with the Torah, right? And we gotta understand that. And so, just bought the book called Cultural Genocide in the Black and African Study Curriculum, right? This is by Dr. Joseph Ben Jacobin, and he's with the ancestors. But this is one of the most important scholars that I never knew about at a young age. How many of us knew? You know, like I said, when I listen to Dr. Jeffries, and he talks about that what they had to go through, particularly teaching in the City University of New York with the white professors, that they were attacking them on every level. Okay, And so those elders who are still alive, you know, they have bitterness within them, and they have every right to be. Right? They have every right to be. They've been economically castrated. They've been labeled as crazies. You know, they have destroyed the minds of our brilliant scholars. Okay? Using psychological tactics, manipulation, covert warfare against them. Okay, and I'm not a scholar, right? But I try to educate myself as much as possible. And though I'm under this immense attack day in, day out, being hit with radio wave, microwave frequency, particularly the technology called silent sound spectrum. Okay? Watching how they manipulate my children to target me. And it's because I know what's going on, because I've educated myself, is the reason why, you know, like I said, I haven't lashed out in a rightful way. In a rightful way. Okay? And it wouldn't be against people that look like me. It would be those that oppress people that look like me. That's who it would be against. Alright? So if you want to talk about a threat, you can take that as a threat then. If you want to do that. Okay? But still, that won't happen. Why it won't happen? Because these races, these dark triads, will take away any sort of financial support, whether your job. Like I said, they're constantly attacking my disability because I will not be silent to what it is that they're doing. This is why. This is why we as black people are at the bottom of the economic totem pole. They are afraid that if we get economic upward mobility or economic power, remember, it's economics that finance revolution. And they are afraid that black people will revolt in America. That's what they're afraid of. That's what they really are afraid of. Because the more you learn the truth, the angrier you get. Because you get to understand the level of deception, the deceit, the lies, the manipulation, right? The destruction of us as a people, of our children. Okay, this is why they have to detach us from one another. They have to take away our love from one another, take away our love from our children. It's the only how they can continue to operate in this psychopathic, this psychotic nature in which they engage in with us. When I say us, not just as TIs, but us as black people, me as a black man. This is what they have to do, right, in order to keep America from burning. Okay? And here's the truth. Here's the truth. And they know this. That if we give black people fair treatment and just treatment, if we give them justice in the form of reparation, and not talking about no $350,000, give those Americans at least $1 million a piece. Right? Believe me, they're not financing revolution. What they're afraid of is competition in the business spaces and the educational spaces. That's what they're afraid of. Because black people are not going to burn. We have never been that type of people. Our history has proven that. Their history, on the other hand, has proven that that's what they do. That is what they do. Okay? That is what they do. From Alexander the Great, the burning of the great library of Alexander, the Romans, burning, precious books, setting humanity back over 1,000 years. That's what they do. So when they talk about history, look at their history. These are the Caucasians. Look at their history, and it will tell you exactly who they are. And yes, there are TIs who are Caucasian. Okay? Yes, yeah, Ti is Caucasian, and I need you as a Ti who is Caucasian to look within yourself. Look at within your community, the people that you were around, how they treated black people, how they spoke about black people, and then go and read policies that the U.S. government created to disenfranchise black people. Go and read how the FDA poisoning black people with the food that they put in our community. Go look at these pharmaceutical companies dumping toxic chemicals in water in which black people drink from. What has changed? So you as a Caucasian Ti, look at yourself. You know, they like to say that they like to call me racist. I'm not racist. I'm not even bigoted. Like I said, I hate those who hate me, and I hate those who hate my people. So if you're black and you hate me, you get no love. If you're black and you hate black people, you get no love. If you're white and you hate me, you get no love. If you're white and you hate black people, you get no love. If you're Asian and you hate me, you get no love. If you're Asian and you hate black people, you get no love. If you're Hispanic and you hate me, you get no love. If you're Hispanic and you hate black people, you get no love. That's how it should be. Because guess what? That's how it is in other communities. That's how it is in other groups of people. So why black people are the only group of people who other people can hate on, but we have to love them. Right? As the saying goes, FOH with that BS. Not gonna happen. All right. So anyhow, so yeah, you know they love to have this agenda that they love to do and love to villainize and stuff like that. But go look at their history. Right. So if I just give you an example, you know my favorite villains are the New York Predator Department. Look at their history. Look at the history of the NYPD. Look at their history, the lies, the deception, the manipulation, the cover-up of murders of police officers killing unarmed black men and women. Right? The planting of drugs on thousands of black men. Right? Go look at recently how they, with their ticketing scheme, right, sued and had to pay out over $75 million. And then there was another lawsuit they had to pay out another 30-something million. Come on. Come on now. They can't talk about history. You talk about my history? My history is insignificant compared to these people's history. The use of the financial system to steal the banks, to steal black people's land, their homes. Using psychological manipulation to pit family members against each other. Using money, everything weaponized against us. Okay? So please, don't talk about history. All right? I mean, look at the history of the CIA. Right? Assassination of black leaders. Elected by their people. Right? But because they didn't want to play ball with these Western corporations who were robbing their people blind, robbing their country, stealing their assets, they assassinated them. So you want to talk about history? You want to talk about threats? I don't make threats. Okay? I don't make threats. I just speak what I'm thinking, what I may be feeling. But I have never raised my hand on any woman. And again, but they know that women have raised their hands on me. They know this, right? Because they watch me, so they know. How many decades they've been watching me? Well over, probably even 3-4 decades. So they know. They know. But because of the vision, the visionary tactic that they use, and to give particularly our women, black women, this false notion of power, because they make them feel like they're the victims of black men. They're not the victims of black men. Black men and black women are the victims of white racism and white racists. That's who we're the victims. But our women are too damn ignorant because they love consumerism. They're highly materialistic, and today now they're highly sexualized. This is what the white racists said about us, black men, decades ago. Now they're saying it, and you can see how they condition our women to be exactly like that. Okay? So, come on now. The only threat here is those that run things. Those are in control of things. They're the threat to the vast majority of people in America, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Arab, what have you. Keep saying these dark triads, you gotta read their personality types, study their personality types. They enjoy chaos. They enjoy causing conflict. And when they have the power, the ability, the resources to do that, that is what they do, and their history shows it. Okay, you got to think. You got to open up your mind. Stop being so close-minded. And again, you need to take a look at your religion. If you're a religious believer, take a look at your religion. I almost forgot about this, but I wanted to show this. Okay, I wanted to show this. Again, I'm just going to show it on my computer screen. I'm going to flip it. So this is from the Jerusalem Post. This is an article that's called "Why Does the Bible Reiterate Stories from the Epic of Gilgamesh?" For those of you who don't know, the Epic of Gilgamesh is a mythological belief system in which, from the Babylonians, or I should say the Assyrians, and this was way before the biblical version of Genesis. Okay? Way before. Alright, so you can go read it. Alright? So let me just, as you guys see, it says, more than 4,000 years ago, when Terah, Abraham's father, and his family lived in the city of Kasdim, Chaldees, in what was called Mesopotamia, a long poem was written which reflects the culture of the time. It was called the Epic of Gilgamesh, named for the ruler of the empire. It is the second oldest text that has been discovered. And again, that's not true, because you have the Kemetic Medu Neter. Again, but again, we gotta take some truth with most of the lie, right? So even when they tell you the truth, they'll still try to get you to believe that they are older texts than what we have in the Medu Neter, and there is not. The Medu Neter is the oldest written language and pictorial language by far. Okay, so the Epic of Gilgamesh contains several stories which are similar to those that appear in Genesis. Now remember, it is older than the Torah, okay, which the Jewish people today, that is their religious sacred book. I wouldn't even say holy book, because they don't call it holy book, they call it a sacred book, right? And so the Epic of Gilgamesh contains several stories which are similar to those that appear in Genesis, such as stories of the Garden of Eden. Listen to this now: Adam and Eve, and the flood, which is depicted in the story of Noah and his aftermath. A text called the Book of Giants, found among the Dead Sea Scroll at Qumran, is related to the Gilgamesh epic and may be related to the Book of Enoch. So again, the Book of Enoch took from this Assyrian text called the Book of Giants. Okay? So, again, these are just stories that were passed on, changed from different cultures adopted it, put their own spin on things, right? So moreover, some of the laws in which the Code of Hammurabi, such as an eye for an eye, are also included in the Torah. Again, that didn't come from the Torah, is eye for an eye. Okay? That came way before. This law code name for the ruler of the Babylonian Empire was written circa 1750 BCE. Right? That's before the Common Era. There are also references in the Torah to Hittite laws, the Code of Nishalim, written around 1650 to 1500 BCE. The Code of Assyrian laws, 1450 1250 BCE. The Sumerian text, written around 2400 BCE. Other ancient sources depict the creation of the world and the origin of human beings. Okay? About the older text within the Medu Neter, Okay, also at the Temple of Unas, where you will find a lot of the Psalms that are in the Old Testament, you will find them there, and that is at least 2,000 years older than your Bible. Okay, but again, because we've been indoctrinated, we have not been educated, just indoctrinated, is why we believe these things. And that indoctrination, it is a an intense form of brainwashing that it starts when you're young, right? And it starts based on fear. Okay, this is why there's such thing called fear-based trauma programs, or fear-based programming, or trauma-based programming. It is based off of fear. Fear can change your mind, particularly your psychology. It can also change you neurologically as well. Change your mind, rewire your brain. Okay, so we got to understand this thing. Education is key, and not just education within the Western educational system, because again, a lot of it is based on lies. A lot of it is based on white racists, people who call themselves historian but are not really historian. Okay, they're not really historian. What they are is liars, manipulators, racists who rewrote history, right, to make them seem, or to make a certain group of people, or group of culture of people, seem as if they were the originator of things that they did not originate. All right. So this is why, like I said, this is why they don't like it when I teach my kids the truth, particularly when it comes to African history, true African history. This is why they're constant use of the police sirens whenever I'm teaching my kids these things. Okay, they are. We have to understand that they are willing to do whatever it takes to keep up their deception and their lies, as Dr. Ray Higgins said. Right, is that when you tell people a well-placed lie, you have to keep up the appearance of the lie. You have to do whatever you can, whatever it is necessary to maintain the lie. Right, because the people will be angry if they found out the truth, and they will rebel. They will rebel now that they've been lied to. Okay, so they have to keep it up. But if you are a critical thinker and you think beyond what you've been told or taught, and you go look up for yourself, because now, again, this is the reason why they want to control the information on the internet, because there's a lot of stuff on the internet, and you got to be careful when you go through these stuff. But I would say to you, you can go to this website called the Internet Archive, where you find a lot of rare books that have been digitized. You can also Amazon. Go to Amazon, look for free books on ancient cultures. Okay, you can, and these books were written in like the 1800s, early 19th century, early 20th century, even 17th century, right? And sometimes you can even go back, and they have books that are written, in the first century, second century, particularly history books, like you read Roman history, which is important. If you call yourself a Christian, you need to understand what was going on at the time that the so-called Jesus was, supposed to have been alive. And the Jews, I shouldn't say the Jews, but the Hebrews, they war with Rome, or the Judeans, as they were called. Judeans, not Jews, right? If you look up the word Jew, right, or Jewish, and see, where that word originated from. It was not that long ago. In the first century, they were never called. They were no Jews. Okay. When Moses was in Egypt, there were no Jews. There was no people called Jews. So again, understand how, these powerful elites, in order to control narrative and control history, and to create a conditioning, a religion in which they can get followers and those who believe it, and indoctrinate them. Again, it starts from when you're a child, right? This is how they're able to do this, and they understand that. But yeah, you just got to just go look at those things, right? Educate yourself. You know, so that's what I had to do. I had to educate myself in terms of what was happening to me. So, which means I had to study psychological conditioning, psychological programming, find out about MK Ultra, Zetsuzum, what they were doing, other, like, the Nazis, how they manipulate the German people, right? And you should go read the what is it? I forgot the title of the book. It's not a book, but it's from a journal. It's called the Art of Self Deception. I think it's Krabak and something. I don't know, but it talks about, they did a study on how the Nazis, right, the SS, were able to manipulate the German people into being silent about the atrocities that was taking place against the Jews, right, the Ashkenazi European Jews, as well as black people, black Jews also, right? So how did they do it? And remember too that, again, I keep saying, the Nazis, Hitler and the Nazis didn't get their idea on their own. They looked to the American eugenics movement, right? And not just the American eugenics movement, but the KKK as well, right? But you wouldn't know this stuff if you didn't educate yourself, because they're not going to teach it to you in the school system. They're not in the education system. They're not going to do it, right? So, and again, as a black person, I understand COINTELPRO, the FBI, the racist war within the races within the FBI, the CIA, the military, to try to control black people, particularly black men in particular, because of this black messiah, and black women too, because black women have, particularly in African culture, there are plenty of black women who have been our Christ, right? And not CHRIST, but KRST, anointed. We have queens, pharaohs, right, that were women long before any European culture had a female queen, okay? And black women have always been treated as our equal, even in our ancient culture, such as in Kemet, all right? And there's evidence of that. All right, so again, when they want to create this false narrative, as just not just me as a black person, but my people, I know my history. Europeans need to know their history too, and what the church have done to their ancestors, and particularly, white Americans who always claim about, their descendants of the people who first came to America. These were not highly valued people. These were people who, they kidnap off the streets. These are people who they took out of the prisons, took out of the asylums, right, and shipped them over to the New World. That's who your ancestors really are. This is why I said, their psychopathic and sociopathic behavior towards us, because that's passed down within their lineage. And so they have to make us like them, right? While we educate them, while they continue to use us as tools for profit and money, sports, entertainment, music, all that stuff. All right. So when you understand their psychology, whether you're black, Asian, whether you're white, you understand the psychology of your people, then I think you should, there's no question in my mind that you will be more empathetic and sympathetic towards black people in this country in the way that they're treated and how we're treated. Okay? So, talk to you guys in the next video.